Hello everyone, this is GM Var Akobian with 1000 GM, and this is the recap of round 8 of the St. Louis GM Norm Tournament. In this matchup we have GM Harshit playing with the white pieces against IM Kalkstein. Let's take a look. E4, C5, Knight F3, E6. So Kalkstein, after losing that dragon game, switch to a more safer Sicilian with E6. No more dragons. Bishop e3, a6, g4. Harshit showing that he wants to attack, and a very aggressive choice. b5 takes on c6, queen takes c6. This is still a theory, and that's why the players are playing relatively quickly. Of course, here bishop g2 is another option, a3 is another option here to protect against b4. Queen takes e4, rook g1. Still playing very quickly here. I presume it's a theory, and still played quickly. Knight e7, knight h5, knight d5, bishop d4, putting pressure on g7, so that needs to be addressed. You cannot play them. If you're wondering why not e5, you cannot do that because of the take and rook e1. You're simply losing the queen, so you can't do that. So that's why you have to play the move rook g8, queen d3, bishop g2, bishop d5. Very complicated position. Again, can't take here. If you take, you're just gonna lose. You are just getting mated here. That's no good. And if he goes here, simply rook takes e7, queen takes e7, queen e3. So that's why no taking. Bishop b7 is played. g5. So black is up a pawn here, but again, this h7 pawn is quite weak. There's h5 pawn is weak as well. The king is still stuck in the middle of the board, so it's definitely easier to play this position with the white pieces. h4, queen takes a2, b3, rook c8, f4. d5, king d2. The idea of this is now he wants to play the move rook a1 and try to trap the queen. Bishop g7. Black decides to go for the exchange sacrifice line. Another option was simply to play queen here with idea queen b5. If queen takes h7, then rook g6. And this will keep the queen out of the play here for a little bit. So bishop g7 played, rook a1. Now it leads to this forcing line. Takes. And let's do the count here. 4 pawns for white versus 6 bishop and 2 pawns for a rook. Decent compensation, but you still have to work hard to make a draw here. It's not like, this is going to be easy draw. So we have bishop f2, rook h8, h7. And the threat of g6 is very strong. That's something that you have to always worry about. So that's why we play the move king f8, king d3. If you take here, the problem is here. And just take. And f4 is the idea. So he played bishop g3, 5. If you play king e3, then actually h4 will protect this. King f3, and this is the hard part. This is the hard part. It's hard to tell whether or not white can really win this position. Let's say you go bishop e1, you're defending everything. Rook a8. Now you can even push. Bishop c3. h1. and just very, very active. F6, trading a lot of the pawns, and yeah, just advantage. You know, advantage for white, but again, very hard to win. So, but instead, king d3, bishop g3, f5 was played, trying to break the structure here. Now bishop e5, trying to prevent the king from coming to d4. Rook goes on h6, f6, and now trying to trade the last pawn. If you play g6, king g7 is very good, so has to take on f6, king e6, now here, and yeah, you can win one pawn, but that's gonna allow the advance. And check. You can go to f6, so you can create mating threats. And after playing king e4, he simply offered a draw because the pawn. Once the pawn is on d2, you're never going to win this game. You just don't have any kind of mechanism. If somehow the pawn was blockaded, if somehow the pawn can be blockaded here, like I don't know, if rook d6, king e7, king e6, yeah, if somehow this has happened, yeah, then. Yeah, but still d6. Yeah, the pawn. If the pawn is on d4, there are some chances here. There's some decent chances to win, but looks like you can't do both. You can't keep the pawn on win the pawn on f5 and keep the pawn on d4. So you can get only one. So yeah, after king e4, this is just simply a draw, and the pawn reaches on d2. The bishop is just cemented here. It's just doing a great job defending everything. So this game ended in a draw. Next game was very interesting and a wild game. This is a game between Grandmaster Chandra playing with the white pieces against Grandmaster Antipov. d4, knight f6, knight f3, g6, knight bd2. Trying to avoid a lot of the theory by playing this move, and the point is to play e4. The point is to play e4, and now d5, b4, e3. Just basically playing very positionally. a5, black is trying to put pressure now on b4, b5, c5, takes, a4. Castles, bishop b5, bishop f5, castles, rook c8, bishop b2, knight e8. They're trying to bring the knight to d6, c3. Lots of maneuvering we see here, and now knight takes c5. So perhaps actually bishop a3 could have been played. I'm not too concerned about e4 because e4 knight can go to e1 and eventually go to c2, and white will prepare the c4 break here. Should be about equal. But after take, knight f3, queen b6, queen b2, queen d5, putting pressure here, and still very complex here. Rook f8, bishop g4, trading the bishops. This makes sense. Takes. It takes b2. You have to control the diagonal. h3. Perhaps rook ad1 could have been very useful to bring the rook into the game. King g7. Ooh, inaccuracy. Big inaccuracy here. The knight needs to be pushed. This knight is too strong here. It has to be moved by the move h5. h5 and simply move the knight from there. But instead play the move king g2, king g7. Now the main line, let's look, is h5, the best line. Knight back, rook c5. Okay, if anybody could be better here, is block. Okay, most likely it's probably going to be an equal with accurate play. But again, if anybody is, if anybody is definitely going to be block who is playing for a win here. But after this move, this is just a blunder. And Grandmaster Chandra has only 4 minutes, but he found the right move. Rook ac1 has to take, because if you go away, you just get made it on the dark squares. If you go to b2, you're just losing a piece. Take on c1, take on c8, and thank you for the piece. So he took. And now, for some reason, he decided to repeat Grandmaster Chandra. That's strange, actually, because all he has to do here in this position, this check is fine. All he has to do is actually take and go here. It's a winning position. Why repeat in a winning position? What did he miss here? Rook c4, probably. Okay, check. Check. Can go to here, 95. King e8, and now simply queen g5. Threatening this, threatening this. I mean, you have so much initiative here. You have so much initiative here, so definitely could have played that. And yeah, it's a very good winning chances take on a5. One thing, he was low on time. Grandmaster Chandra was low on time. That could be the reason why he decided not to take the risk. But again, you always can figure out a way to draw this position. Take. Now this is hanging. Dark squares are still very, very weak. So threats are just still continuing here. But he had 4 minutes versus 39 and decided that draw would be the best option here. And by the way, if you're wondering why you're not going here, because if you go here, check, you're going to have to step in front of your rook and lose your queen for just one rook. So you're not even going to get 2 rooks for it. So that's why. Okay. All right. So yeah, the game ended in a draw, like I mentioned, just the perpetual like this. You know, it was winning, but it's not so easy. You know, there were still some moments to see, and with being low on the clock, 2 minutes on the clock, Grandmaster Chandra decided to take the perpetual. Next game we have is the game between FM Krechetov and FM Gedaljovic. Let's see. Knight f3, d5. So we have transpose into the Ragozin defense. Okay. This bishop d2 lines are being popular. I see a lot of people play. Aronian had a nice game in this line. Queen b1. Yeah, the idea is to put pressure on h7. b4. c5. Breaking. And now rook b8 is going to be coming up any moment, so c2 is played. c4. 5. Knight b6. Knight d4. Black is playing very actively, taking advantage of the little bit passive play by white in the opening. And now the point is, now if you take with this guy, after bishop f5, you're just losing a piece. So that's really bad. And if you take with the bishop, then de, pressuring the knight, and again, very hard to do anything here. You go here, simply f6, this is hanging. So he took. Rook takes. So the best option here would have been to take back with the queen. I guess to have the queen jump on g4 if needed. The queen is just better placed here than taking with the rook, because now rook b5 could be very interesting. Putting pressure here and getting ready to double up the rooks on the b file. Yeah, so position is still about equal. 92. Bishop a5. Knight c3. Trying to trade the knights. Again, this rook b5 idea looks very interesting. You're threatening to take. d5 is weak. fd1 takes. Rook h6. Another option here was just to put a rook on g6, rook g6, with a threat of to take and queen g4 options. h6, 95. h3 is very important here because if f6 comes, you want to make sure you can move your knight anywhere. But you went here. Bishop a5. Queen h5, trying to give a mate on h1, so king f1 is the only move. Now rook g6. Now the threat is to check and take on g2. Bishop e6, and now bishop f4. Bishop f4. Okay. So a takes b6 would be just very nice and a safe advantage. Now bishop c7 is a good deflection here. One is played. Yeah, that just loses. If bishop c7, check. You can actually escape here. Wow. Because, you know, a lot of the checks are not going to do anything. Check. Okay, this is incredible line. And it's only going to be a perpetual. Because you can't take because rook g2 is a mate. Well, there is nothing better in this position. This is unbelievable. It's hard to imagine something like this. Yeah, it's really hard to imagine something like this could happen. All right, so let's go back. But he played king g1. He says, I can't allow this. And now simply rook takes c3. Opening up the king. Check. You can't take here because if you take bishop e3, check. 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 And this very clever queen h6. Right. Okay. So this queen h6 is actually a key element here. Without it, you don't have a mate. So I played here, and now simply rook takes g2. King g1. Check. If you go to the h5, rook here. King f1. Now, and here, just simply, yeah, check. Check. And a mate. That's how the game finished. Okay, so excellent win here by FM Gedaljevic, and this is his first win. So it's been a little bit of tough tournament for him, but he got the win in the GM section here. So good for him. Yeah. Let's move on to the next game. The next game we have here is IM Mardov against FM Tuxtemor. Let's take a look. E4, E5. We have the Sicilian defense with e6 setup for black. Bishop d3. Queen e2. Bishop b7. Bishop d2. Knight f6. e5. Knight d5. Bishop e4. Queen c5. Queen f3. Rook c8. Knight takes d5, trying to give double pawns to black here. Now c2 is hanging. Yeah, here you don't really have a way to avoid this. You have to go knight d5. So this is gonna happen. Queen c4. Taking the pawn. So the question is here if it's necessary to give up the pawn. I'm not sure. I think I quite like the move b3 here to push this queen back. So I like this move b3 to push the queen back. So that would be my choice, I think, in this position. Okay. b3, queen goes on c6. And then simply castle. Bishop c5. Castles. Rook a1. This is how the game can go. Well, I think white is maybe very slightly better here, but not so much. So instead we have the pawn sacrifice here by Mardov. Bishop c5 check, queen c4. And here it's very important not to delay the castling. The king is in the middle. You have to get that safety, okay? Get that king castled. There's nothing really very serious to worry about here. I mean, if you worry about f5, okay, rook f8. Bishop will sit back on f8 and defend the position, okay? So it's not going to be easy to do much. So the bishop will go back to f8 and everything is under control. Bishop g5. Queen takes b2. It's not easy. It's not easy to give a mate here, okay? Yeah. Bishop f8. And now, yeah, looks very threatening, but once again, it can't just mate. You know, you don't have knights and everything, so it's harder. So you probably have to play 6. Queen c3. Wow, this is amazing. Line, it ends in a draw. Yeah, super complicated line. You don't want to trade queens because there's 2 pawns that are going to be so strong. So just going to be cool. All right, and the next one we have is, so yeah, this game, sorry, let's go back to the game. Actually, yeah, he did not castle. That's the problem. He played here. Now f5 comes in. This is very strong. Attacking b4, attacking the bishop, f6. So the problem now, bishop never arrived on f8. Without the bishop on f8, you're going to get mated on g7, and here you're losing to the move f6 as well. So here, this is the only way to get out. So you have to give up a piece, and yeah, down a piece is just not going to work. There were some more moves played, but it's just winning. Yeah, now rook e7, winning position. Okay, now let's move on to the next game here. So Mardov won this game. Now we have Williams. So here is Williams against I am Williams against I am Josiah Stearman. Let's take a look. Let's see here. e4, c5, knight f3, knight c6. We have the Rosalimo setup here, and d6 is played by Josiah. Oh, we have this line. This is an old line. c4. There you can also play knight c3 here. Knight c3, bishop g5, and long castle, or you can play c4. Bishop g5. Now, as soon as black castles, he's already threatening knight takes c4, so you have to do something. Queen e3. Attacking the knight. f5. Another option here, black could play rook e8. That would be fine. Queen a5 is another normal option. f5. h1. Wow, this is some very aggressive play by Josiah. I'm not sure why not just take. Rook a d1, h6, queen d7. I'll bring this guy here and play e5. Okay, e5 attacking the queen. That'd be nice. If black can get that, that would be very good. But takes h5, knight d5. Knight h4 is apparently super strong because now stopping knight rook f5. If takes, just rook ad1. Bishop e5, queen d2. Wow, giving up the pawn like this, and this is just winning? Very strange. f3. So you give up some material, but then play f3 and basically say, where is the knight going? It can go anywhere. Knight f6. Rook fe1. There is this pressure, there is this pressure, lots of pressure we see here. Yeah, this would be very strong. Yeah, it's hard to notice things, you know, like here you knight h4 is possible. Yeah, it's possible. Fine, but knight d5. We thought this is good too, but no, it's yeah, it's relatively normal position now. Knight e5 takes e5, queen h4. If he takes on e8, queen e8 is a very good move. Now attacking the queen, the exchange will occur. h4, rook takes d5. Yeah, takes a5, and yeah, I think it's going to be maybe even easier to play for the block here because the bishop is still attacking this, and if perhaps the central pawns can go, the rooks are still in their original position. It's objectively about equal here. But Williams went queen a4, keeping the pressure on e7, queen b6. If anybody, I think it's block here. Rook c8. f8 I like. I like this move. I like to put a rook here. You know, takes rook f7. Bishop g5. Then I start taking. I want to have a rook on f file because this will protect my king and also put pressure. Bishop b3 takes. Okay, a better option would have been just to play queen b5, just to protect. Then attack this instead of taking, because now bishop d4 here, queen g3. Now g6 is I perhaps missed this idea. Missed this idea. Queen g6. Let's this check and take. Yeah, some kind of an oversight here, because now suddenly queen b5 block is slightly better. After this, white is big advantage. So winning exchange. c2. Still okay here. Rook takes a2. I just need to get the queens off the board. Queen c5. Okay, so lots of pawns. If the queens come off the board, black will just win here. h4 is played. Queen g4 looks normal. Yeah, or king h6. King on h6 is very well placed here too. Yeah, it's much more safer to keep the king on h6 here against all this threat, but not here. Check. Yeah, rook g5 is very strong here. Rook g5, bishop g5, check, can block it, take, and very importantly, queen b3 picks up this guy. But he played queen c8, queen c3, take. Yeah, basically picking up the pawns, and what happens here is your king is so exposed that there's always going to be lots of threats against it. getting, yeah, this is just a technical win here. Threatening the A pawn. Yeah, check. That just wins, because now you have to go to the back rank here, and that's going to look to rook e8. So, but yeah, this was a very interesting back and forth game. Lots of action, back and forth, and at the end we have the win here for Williams. And you know, Josiah definitely had just chances. He must feel disappointed that he didn't win the game. So anyway, thank you everybody for watching this game. Make sure to subscribe to 1000 GM YouTube channel, and we'll be back with the final round of this event, round 9 recap very shortly. Hope you enjoy it, and see you soon. Bye bye.